Hi everyone, my name is Stenila and I'm an Outreach and Community Specialist with the UTA Central Library. Thank you for joining us for our final video in our Bounty of Nature video series. I hope you guys enjoyed Earth Day. This week has been really important for us because we're celebrating Earth Day and we're bringing you some really nice nature-friendly hacks and quick crafts. So if you haven't seen the rest of the videos in our Bounty of Nature video series, definitely go check our Facebook page. I'll post some links in the comments below as well for the other videos. We basically had a couple of really nice quick crafts that you can try out at home if you're kind of wanting something to do as a personal project. We also had a vegan recipes hack video that we posted yesterday. And we're still accepting submissions if you have pictures of your green space that you want to show off. So if you have any plants that you're growing inside or outdoors, or if you have a garden that you'd like to show us, definitely post them in the group and we'd still like to see them throughout the month. So today we're going to be talking about microgreens. Microgreens are small seedlings that are edible. So if you observe the different stages of growth that a plant goes through, so once you plant the seed and it sprouts and then it starts growing into a tiny little seedling and it has those first few leaves appear, that's around the stage where you could harvest it and call it a microgreen. Now, you may have seen microgreens in different videos of restaurants where they use it as decoration or use it in a dish to kind of garnish at the very end. Those tiny little seedlings, those are microgreens. And they're super easy and simple to grow at home. So there are several health benefits to including microgreens in your daily diet. The fact that they're packed full of nutrients like iron, magnesium, copper, zinc, potassium, things that your body really needs, antioxidants. You can get all of these things from microgreens. They're packed full of nutrients. Now, the exact amount or the exact variety of nutrients that your body gets kind of depends on what kinds of microgreens you grow, because there's hundreds of varieties that could work depending on where you live, what area you're in, what seasonal veggies and seedlings that you're able to get. But for the most part, microgreens are a really good source of the essential nutrients that your body needs. You can also get a higher volume of vitamins and minerals from microgreens than you would get from mature green plants or vegetables. So it's definitely really useful to include microgreens in your diet. And the best part about it is the fact that it's really simple to grow in your space. You don't need a garden or anything. You can grow them in your apartment. I live in an apartment and I was able to test it out and I grew my own microgreens. So it's super simple, easy setup. You don't even need a garden or any land at all. So like I mentioned before, there are hundreds of varieties of microgreens that you could try growing. I highly recommend that you search on the internet for some easy, low maintenance beginner varieties to grow, because especially if you have classes and exams to worry about, you don't really want to have something that's going to be high maintenance that you're going to have to pay close attention to and constantly worry about either overwatering or underwatering, So you want to make sure that you start off for your first time with something super simple, super quick, and it sprouts quickly. So a lot of vegetable seeds work for this. So leafy vegetables, herbs, things like that you can grow microgreens with. So that's the beauty of it, is you'd be surprised how many of the vegetables that you see in your daily life, could actually become microgreens. So I highly recommend that you do an internet search and figure out which one sounds the easiest to get for you and which one you're going to be happy with starting off. So the beauty about growing microgreens is the fact that you don't really need a lot of expensive or high-end equipment to get started. You can literally start off with some of the things that you just have laying around your house. So you don't really need to spend a lot of money. It's a quick and simple thing to do, and I highly recommend that everyone try it out. I'm going to show you real quick how you can set up your microgreens and start them off, and then all you need to do is make sure they don't dry out and make sure they're watered appropriately. So let's get to that part real quick. So for me, the process actually started the night before. So I had chosen chickpeas, mung beans, and peas for my seeds. I have to actually soak these because they need some extra help getting the sprouting process started. So as you can see, I'm literally just taking about a half a cup of each of the seeds, pouring them in a bowl, and then pouring water over them to where there's about an inch of water above each of the bowls of seeds. And you'll see here the chickpeas, the mung beans, and the peas. And that is the next day when I woke up. As you can see, some of the seeds have already grown a little bit bigger because they've soaked up some of the water, and this is literally going to accelerate the sprouting process. The mung beans have actually started to sprout, as you can see right here. The skin is broken and you can see the sprout. Alright everyone, now that we have our seeds soaked and ready to go, we are going to go ahead and plant them. So what you're going to need for this step is you're going to need some Tupperware containers. Now this is a very easy and simple thing to find. If you have some laying around your house that you haven't been using, you can always use these. If you also have like takeout boxes that you just haven't wanted to throw away, you can use those as well. But I found these like 2 for $1 at the Dollar Tree. I love shopping at the Dollar Tree. They have so many cheap things that you can use for little crafts and stuff like that. So I got 4 of these, so I spent about $2 on these containers, right? And this is what I'm going to be using for mine. You're also going to need some soil. So I have some like generic potting mix right here. You can find these in the garden section of any of your supermarkets. So you're going to need the soil. Of course, you're going to need your seeds, which I have waiting to the side like this. And then you're also going to need some water. Now, the first thing that we need to do is take each of these plastic containers and make holes in the bottom of them. So I'm going to be doing a bottom watering system. If you don't want to drill holes, if you want to water them from the top, you just got to get a spray bottle and just gently spray on top. But there are some advantages to watering from the bottom. It helps water it evenly once you plant everything. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now, I'm going to be using some like kitchen scissors to make the holes. This is kind of a little bit more risky, but if you have like a drill bit at home, if you have a working drill, go ahead and use that. That's going to be much simpler for you to use, but I'm going to use these scissors because this plastic is not that difficult to get through. I'm just going to make about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to make about 8 holes in this plastic container. This is giving me flashbacks to when I had to do different like craft projects for middle school. Like having to do all this tedious stuff. So now that we have holes on the bottom of all of the containers, now I'm going to take them one by one and go ahead and place the lid underneath, so that I don't have to do that later on. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put some of the potting mix into it. Alright. Now I'm going to give it a little shake and then kind of pack it down. Alright. Pack it down tightly. Now I'm gonna pour some water on top and make sure all of the soil is soaked. And now I'm gonna get my mung beans, and as I showed you before, some of them sprouted because of the water, so these didn't really need a lot of work. That's the good thing about the mung beans, is the skin is so thin that they can sprout if you just leave them in water as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and place them on top of the soil. Right, and you may not even need all of this. I may not even need the whole, like half a cup. So for a normal size, like Tupperware container like this, I'd say about 1/3 of a cup is more than enough to get these going. Right? The thing with microgreens is that so as you can see, we're basically spreading them across the soil, but they're planted so tight packed together that they will start competing with each other to get the sunlight first. So that allows them to grow nice and tall. So I think this is a good distribution. So you want to make sure that you don't have any areas where there's way too many of the seeds tightly packed together. And to make sure you spread them out evenly and then kind of pat them down. Right? Give them a good press so they stay firmly planted in the soil. If you have like a wood block or something, this would be the time that you use that to press them down, but I'm just using my hand. Alright. Now you give them a little bit more water. Gotta be careful when you water them. Now that's ready to go. I'm going to do the same thing with the rest of the seeds. Now the last one we have is sesame seeds. The sesame seeds did not need to be soaked beforehand because they're very small. They will not need soaking to be able to start, germinating. The other seeds, like the chickpeas, for example. The chickpeas are so thick and the seed's skin is going to need some extra help. So it'll germinate faster and actually sprout out of the skin, which is why we had to soak them beforehand. And these, we didn't need to do that. Alright, so now that we have the seeds planted, we want to make sure that we leave them in stacks as we allow them time to sprout. So the reason why we want to stack them up is because the weight will allow the quicker germination. So it'll basically push the seeds into the soil and make sure the root takes a hold in the soil quickly. Now this does two things. Not only does it provide weight to promote quicker germination, it also does what we call blackout. So what blackout is during the first 2 to 3 days right after you've sown the seeds for the microgreens, you want to make sure that they do not come into contact directly with sunlight so that the seedlings actually start looking for sunlight, and that will make them grow faster. So we also want to cover the top, so I've made some cardboard cutouts. You could use the lid to cover it up, but since the lid fits perfectly on top, it wouldn't allow you to put anything on top of the lid to provide pressure. I want these to experience some pressure as well, so I'm going to put the cardboard cutouts on top of these as well. And you can literally use anything. If you have like a wooden block laying around at home, you can put those on top. If you have, let's say, a giant rock, you can put those on top. What I have, this is super like improvisation time right here. I have a little container of rice that I'm going to put on top of this one. And I have also with me an unopened pack of salt, which I'm going to put on top of this stack. So this is going to provide the needed pressure for both the top layer and the bottom layer. So now that we have the cardboard cut out inside, all the seeds are blacked out, so this container blacks out these seeds, so none of them see sunlight directly. Now you want to keep these in a warm place inside your home, either right next to a windowsill or underneath a table lamp. I'm going to keep mine next to a windowsill so that they do have some indirect sunlight exposure, but at the same time we've blacked them out. So that's the ideal condition you want to leave them in while you allow them to germinate. Now I've chosen the base of this window in my apartment to place my microgreens to allow them to sprout. That way they have some of the warmth and indirect sunlight that they are exposed to, but at the same time they are striving to get towards. So that'll promote their growth. We have the weights on top, and now we sit and wait. So these are the two microgreen varieties that I grew that were super successful. These are the sesame seeds. As you can see, they still need some time to grow, and these are my mung beans. Now, I think these are ready for harvest, so all you would need to do is take some scissors, cut them right about there, and they should be ready to be added to any of your dishes. Now, one of the problems that I ran into was also the fact that Texas weather, right? As soon as I planted the seeds, there was this cold front that came through that really didn't help things. The cold front kind of ruined their chances of sprouting early. They took a long time to sprout because of that cold front. So what I should have done, and this is another lesson learned, right? What I should have done was put them under a heat source. So I should have turned on a lamp and kept them under there. That would have accelerated the sprouting rate, and they would have been ready much earlier. But either way, they're on their way to success, and these are on their way to my dishes. So there you have it, mung beans and sesame seeds. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this microgreens video. If you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. Let me know and share your pictures if you end up trying microgreens yourself. If you try to grow them, please share your results with us. We're really interested in seeing what you guys can come up with. And until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and have a good day.